As a broker, selling a house with tenant in possession must follow some specific steps in the process that are required by the state of California Department of Real Estate. Hello, property management brainstormers. It's Bob Preston here, your host, and welcome to 5 Minute Friday. FMF is a mini podcast series where I offer my best tips and advice regarding questions I frequently get from property managers, real estate investors, and landlords. I do this every Friday in 5 minutes or less. So if you're new here, consider subscribing to get all my quick advice and updates, and let's get started with today's FMF. As a landlord, have you ever wondered about selling your property even though it's occupied by a tenant? I'm often surprised to hear that many real estate investors don't realize this is possible. In the state of California, it's known as selling your property with tenants in possession, or TIP, TIP. Now, I want to preface this entire episode today by saying that this episode is going to be about selling property as a TIP property. It's all in the context of the state of California, so please keep that in mind. Selling a home in this scenario is not only allowed in the state of California, but North County Property Group considers itself to be an expert in selling homes with tenant in possession. On average, I would say my company lists and sells about 10% of our rental portfolio annually for our clients under these kind of conditions. As a broker, selling a house with tenant in possession must follow some specific steps in the process that are required by the state of California Department of Real Estate. What I've found is that most listing agents don't understand these specific steps necessary or have the bedside manner required to handle such a transaction. My company, North County Property Group, has become an expert in this type of listing and is capable of handling all the intricacies, such as the tenant interface, disclosures to potential buyers, and handling the details of the transaction with the buyer's agent and escrow. We've learned these steps and how to navigate the intricacies of this scenario from being a property manager and having a good relationship with the property owner and the tenant. I've seen a lot of situations where an uninformed listing agent inserts themselves in a listing with a tenant and comes in swinging their arms, and the process alienates the tenant. Not good when you're trying to show the property or have the property presentable for potential buyers. In our case, since we've placed the tenants in the property through the rental process as a property manager, we have that ongoing relationship with them and already know them well. This allows us kind of the inside track to gain a cooperative understanding with our tenants and getting them to be supportive and comfortable with the listing and the selling process, typically because there's a high degree of trust in that relationship. This is hugely important in a tenant in possession transaction toward a successful sale and close of escrow. The tenant simply needs the assurance along the way that the lease will still be honored despite the transition of the property to a new owner. And the buyer needs to understand this too through disclosure of the details of the lease, the rent amounts collected each month, and the lease termination date. This is accomplished in the state of California through what is known as the Tenant Estoppel Certificate. Many agents don't understand this. They just don't get it and what it's used for, or even the significance of documenting the tenant's right to possession until the lease termination date. It's all about having the right team listing the property and handling the cooperative effort involved between the tenants, agents, and buyers. There are a lot of nuances to keeping everyone on the same page and working together toward a common objective in the TIP scenario. We have done it for clients many times and have the skills to make it happen for you if you happen to be interested. If you have a property in California which you are renting with a tenant in possession, give me a call or send me an email. I'd be happy to work with you and explain the steps and help you toward a successful TIP sale of your property. Thank you so much for joining in on this episode of 5 Minute Friday, TGIF, and we will see you next Friday.